Hey guys, Adam Green here with No More News. This video, I wasn't sure what I was going to name it. I think I'm going to go with Chris Dorsey Exposed, or final thoughts on Chris Dorsey and the Virginia Militia. I thought about naming it Chris Dorsey to the Woodshed, or Adam Green takes Chris Dorsey to the Woodshed.
No More News did a video with Chris Dorsey, and then after Chris was calling him controlled opposition and a limited hangout, he said that Chris was unstable and a psycho and doesn't deserve to be promoted, and took the video down. He took the video down because at multiple points Adam said, "So what if I've interviewed federal agents? Does
Not
that
what I
matter?"
said.
And that just kind of exposes him as the limited hangout.
You stated in one of your messages back and forth to me, which you answered out of your own free will, you're being too pushy, and so what if they are agents that I'm interviewing? I can do what I want. Obviously you can.
Yeah,
but
whether
said,
they're agents
so
or not, you don't tell me who I'm allowed to interview. That's what I'm saying.
I'm not.
You say everybody else, their work is limited hangout, and they're all...
Who's everybody else? I'm talking
everybody
about
on my show, Jan Irving,
everyone on your channel.
all the other militias.
Why don't you name everyone you've interviewed, and I will go along with that. I'll start. Ryan Dawson, Patrick Little, Christopher Bolin, Jeremy Roth-Kushel.
Specifically, Jeremy Roth-Kushel.
Yes,
you know,
specifically Jeremy Roth-Kushel.
Sent me the
Kevin
clip.
Barrett, of course. Kevin Barrett is famous for saying certain types of false flags are false flags and others are not.
So what's wrong with that?
And usually his angle is the false flags that blame Muslims are fake and the ones that blame others are real.
Okay.
And beyond that, Kevin Barrett is obviously a government agent, and it's prima facie evidence because he gets paid by a government.
Adam Green is really focused on Alex Jones, and who does him anymore? He's been outed for years, 10 years, whatever. I mean, why would you put time to Alex Jones? It seems like he's getting young people who just started, and he gets them hooked into his channel because he's being critical of Alex Jones. It seems like some kind of psyop.
Everyone that you interview on your channel is a asset, a limited hangout, for lack of a better term, asset, and many of them are obvious government intelligence agents, and that they are talking about all the problems, but do not do anything but misrepresent and ignore the only one real solution. And again, this is not our solution. This is the solution that is the law of the land, and it is the only rational solution, and nothing else makes sense.
And then he messages me and says, like, everybody on your channel is a shill in controlled opposition. And in his eyes, the definition of a controlled opposition is literally you haven't gotten behind him and joined his militia. So he just calls everybody a shill. This is his whole page. But one other thing I gotta say is, when you say everybody is a shill, it really waters down what it means to be a shill. People that are new to this, they're gonna say
government asset. Why do you keep using the word shill when I'm only using the word government agent and government asset?
Okay, well, they're...
And again, we've established the government controls everything. They control everything about the money supply.
We've gone through this so many times. I don't need to hear all this again.
Listen. Right. So if anyone is not calling for the abolition of government, then they are, by definition, a controlled, limited hangout government asset, whether they know it or not. But we're talking about the founding documents of the United States and the word lawful abolition So again, unless folks are calling for the abolition of government, you know that they are controlled by the government.
When I asked Chris once, if everybody's an agent, who is somebody else besides you that I can interview? And listen to who he suggested.
Action and strategies.
That's
So
perfect. I asked you, since you say everybody that on my channel are agents or shills, I asked you, who is somebody who's not a shill that I could have on as a guest that you would give your approval of?
Everhart.
Chris Everhart.
Hey, interview Clifford Everhart.
Cliff Everhart, the guy that made the Gematria video about me. Or Chris Dorsey. These are your two buddies that have been spamming my page all over the last few days.
I'm not mentioned in any of these videos against Chris and the Militia Intelligence Report. Nobody wants to include me in there. I made videos on these guys, and they're not taking me on. I went to Adam's site and said, I'd like to argue with you, talk to you, debate about Chris Bolin. I got nothing back. Ryan Dawson basically deleted my comment about wanting to describe things with them. What is this about? I never get bothered by people, really. It's a pretty good life. Nobody calls me names or says anything about me. What's up, guys? Come on, Adam, Ryan. Let's play some Ring Around the Rosie or something and do something here.
One of his buddies, Cliff, of the Militia Intelligence Report, made this video, and he's got 23 comments. It's people saying, oh, great job, Adam's exposed, blah, blah, blah. It is funny, so check this out.
They let you know in esoteric ways that it's controlled opposition. They like to go between telling you in these obfuscated ways and then just coming right out with it and then trying to obfuscate later like Jacob. They like to switch it up, how they obfuscate, how they approach their obfuscation and attempted infiltration / derailment.
The Zionist Jews and the Freemasons employ controlled opposition. They're doing it by the numbers, and they're coding it by the Kabbalah code, by this Gematria code. No more news. Using the alphabetical order, that means A is 1, B is 2, C is 3, Z is 26, and you add them all up. No more news. 11 plus 14 plus 15 plus 23, you get 63. More, you get 51. 61, you add those up, you get 175, like flight 17.5. Adam Green, reversing the alphabetical order, is 17.5 as well. No more news 175 with Adam Green 175, reversing the alphabetical order. Adam Green may or may not be his real name. Who knows? He's from San Marcos. 59 there. No more news 59, and this particular coding is interesting. 58, 59. This is reducing the alphabetical order. This is reducing the reverse alphabetical order. Freemasonry, 58, 59, this is Zionist Jew, Freemasonic controlled opposition.
After he mirrored my video exposing the numerics, numerology, the esoteric coding behind his little outfit, that's when I got my YouTube strike. After he mirrors my video and then tries to mock me for exposing the esoteric elements of the limited hangout, that's when YouTube said, "Oh, my stuff's so crazy," but then I'm getting strikes from DARPANet, from Fang. So I just realized that, and I found that kind of interesting.
I also show his obsession with view counts and subscribers. You take that logic he's using, he calls people irrelevant and non-existent because they have not many subs. I'm not showing it, but he attacks Clifford Eberhardt mercilessly in this video. He does. I've never seen Clifford say one thing that wasn't true. He's into Gematria, so I respect that. It's not my thing, but I respect him doing it. I've been around 100. I don't care. As long as I have 50 good people that understand logic and understand what I'm putting forth, then I'm doing it for a reason. I'm helping in some way. He takes this logic, and you talk about Alex Jones has a lot, and then Fox News has more views, and then you have Trump has more views, and you go up and up. The people who have the most views are not the ones that are truthful. That's poor logic.
All of my subscribers, they totally saw right through it. I mirrored the video, got a lot more views there. My followers loved it. 230,000 views on this one. 11,000 on that one. 16,000 on that one, 75,000 on that one, 39,000 on that one, 8,000 on that one.
It's only got 500 views here. It was like 7,000 on my page. I'm going to go through and read all these comments. And he says they're Mossad bots, but they're my followers. He's spending all his time attacking Ryan Dawson and me when we have like no following online, very small following. There's the second one, 2,000 views. His buddy Cliff made this video, 249 views. Here's two buddies right here, David Dartariv and Clifford Eberhard. These guys are essentially irrelevant. They have no following. He put it up on Live Leaked, 600 views, 4.5 thousand views 6 days ago. Their platform is like essentially non-existent. He doesn't have a big following. It shows with his following, he's just jealous and wants to steal everybody's followers. I was getting comments all over my YouTube videos saying, interview Chris Dorsey, and we'll talk about Dawson and what he did to stab me in my back. Well, you took all of our private messages and put them out online calling me out.
Right. I told you I was going to do that. I do that with everybody. All of my information is public. This is not about, I'm not your friend. I'm not even really your associate. I don't want to do any of this work that's not public. I don't want to have private messages with anybody. Mm-hmm. I don't have friends in this movement. We don't drink. This is work.
I reached out to him first, and this is when you try to be nice to Chris Dorsey, you'll see what he does to you. He is a rotten, sick, deluded person. And I was promoting him too as well. I was promoting his stuff. I was nothing but nice to this guy, and he is just such a rotten person. It's like he has no self-awareness.
The point isn't Chris Dorsey's personality and how he presents information and whether he's annoying you or not. You guys are big-time shills, and I'm embarrassed that people like you are on YouTube, and you are my enemy.
What you're doing now is you're attacking me. You're attacking me personally, but this is not about me, but you're attacking the message. So what you're doing there is you're attacking the basis of the United States of America, the basis of the English common law, and the basis of reasoned political and government thought over probably the past 500 years.
I'm blessed. I'm thankful. I'm blessed by God. I'm nothing special, except for I'm better at exposing the government than anyone else I can think of.
What I'll also say is I'm always talking to somebody smarter than myself, no matter who I'm talking to, because I'm always looking to gain some sort of knowledge. Again, I'm nothing. I'm a lowly creation of God, the creator of all things.
It's always distractions and personal attacks from this guy. And then he starts just, ad hominem, personal attacks. I don't like being pushed around by pricks like this guy. You're really frustrating and you're really irritating, and I think you're a little too paranoid. You're like delusional. He is a rotten, sick, deluded person. And he is just such a rotten person. It's like he has no self-awareness. I mean, this guy is delusional. Talk about the delusions of grandeur. This guy is off the hinges. Dorsey is just such a trash talker. These guys suffer from paranoid delusions. He claims he's the commander of the Virginia militia, but I've talked to other militia guys who laugh at that because it's just insane. Who appointed him that? Who voted that he's the militia?
So when I'm the commander, that means I'm taking actions and I'm being the commander of the militia. It's not somebody can call me that. That's the title. That's just what I do.
Is a descendant of Confederate soldiers, a member of the Virginia militia, and Jefferson Guard of the Virginia militia, what became known as the Stonewall Brigade. My third great grandfather Edward W. Dorsey was a member of the Jefferson Guard, and then what became the 2nd Virginia Militia, which is also known as the Stonewall Brigade.
And I say over and over again, as we say always, all you have to do is follow behind our lead. I'm confident to say that we are leading this, that the militia is leading this, because I'm not confident in anybody else's interpretation of this simple information and their bona fides, that they don't have the standing to do this. When others say that I'm an economist and a geopolitical analyst and a legal scholar, I have standing to do that. When somebody says that I'm the commander of the Virginia militia, that means that that's not my title, but that's what I do. And that all other militias and other groups who are not following exactly what we're saying are illegitimate. And that this whole discussion is about that.
Look, I was promoting his stuff all over the place. And then he accuses me of, in the second interview, of trying to hide it, even though it was up. So that's Friday night, the show. It's up, available live stream on YouTube. I work all day Saturday, like literally.
No, it's not on YouTube. It's not on YouTube.
It's on Facebook Live. I shared it all multiple times all over my page. I'm not suppressing any of this information. The point is we did that talk.
Yes, you are. You're not putting it up on your YouTube page. You need to answer for your actions, at least, or be illegitimate. You have to answer or be illegitimate. So put the stuff up on your page.
You gave me all these accusations.
How this all plays out.
The interview is up on my Facebook. The first interview I did with you, I shared all over the place. Just because I haven't reposted it to my YouTube.
How many Facebook friends do you have?
I don't know. I don't check that number regularly. But definitely my YouTube following is bigger. You're being so pushy to put the interview on my YouTube.
Whoa. I'm just making a point. Mm-hmm. How many Facebook friends do you have? How many eyeballs on your Facebook page? More or less than your YouTube page?
Far less than my YouTube.
Far less. Mm-hmm. Far less. That's how you compartmentalize.
Okay. I'm not suppressing any of this information. I've had to block a few of them. Then he started trolling all over my page. All these guys started making all these accusations. He called me a secret Jew. He rubbed it in my face that he infiltrated and exposed everybody. That's why I took it down. Some of them were automatically censored, but there was one or two I got rid of. But I'm not combing through all of these and getting rid of all of the negative comments. I don't have time for that, and I never do that. You're getting an accurate, uncensored picture of what's really going on there, minus one or two ridiculous lying comments. I'll block these people. If they're trolling my page with lies, I'm going to hide those lies. I'm not going to have them hurt my reputation. I'm not going to promote this guy. I'm not going to give him a platform any more than I already did. Okay. I don't know why.
Infiltration/derailment, and the way we look at it is we're punching holes through this limited hangout. And once there's a hole punched in the dike, they try to stick their thumb in it, but they can't. So it has to go out even further. They have to expose themselves even further. Adam Green blocked me too. That's Adam Green's number one move. Remember how much he was threatening to block us on that broadcast that we were doing live, that it took him another week to put up, then he took the video down after leaving it up for a day. See, that's the tactic of these government agents. They can't stand behind their work.
So I had already agreed to do an interview with Chris when I was like, uh-oh, this could be trouble. This guy is off the hinges. He's genius in some ways, but also like a little delusional and paranoid, and he has been messed with. So, I'm sure that messing with you and talking about this stuff for a long time like he has could drive anybody crazy. Chris Dorsey is obviously unstable. It is clear from the beginning, possibly Asperger's. Everybody's illegitimate but him. I mean, this guy is delusional. He calls himself George Washington, essentially. He thinks he is. This is the level that he thinks he's doing. He's operating. He's gonna have a revolution.
Again, I'm nothing. I'm a lowly creation of God, the creator of all things.
Well, I'm a man and one of the people, number one. Of course, that's the most important and the highest rank of any official on the planet. God creates man and man creates government.
And we're never going to do anything crazy. Everybody knows that. Like, we know that the government agents are crazy. But all we're doing is saying we are requiring that the law of the land and rational thinking and logic be put into place. We demand an end to the satanic system. That's all we're saying. That's all we're saying.
I must say that it is much more important for us to be arming ourselves and going down to the Federal Reserve Bank or standing at the state capitol and surrounding the state capitol with our weapons lawfully, of course, and calling for the lawful abolition of the government and the restoration of the Constitution.
See, that's the tactic of these government agents. They can't stand behind their work, and all they can do is have their other government paid shills just not address anything that's said, but, oh, this guy is crazy. He thinks everybody's a government agent but him. And all we're saying is, look, man, if you're not considering the fact that the government's going to infiltrate these movements, is going to obfuscate the truth, then give me a break. You're not smart enough to get to this point.
If you notice, he starts his shows, he goes, hey, this is Militia Intelligence Report with a man called Chris Dorsey. He always says a man called or the man called. And this is, he's always like, define that word. What does that word mean? No, people and citizen are totally different. And so he's got something weird about his name.
Well, I'm a man and one of the people, number one. Of course, that's the most important and the highest rank of any official on the planet. God creates man and man creates government.
When it says in the 13th Amendment and 14th Amendment that people are actually not people, that persons are citizens of the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof, it's not like they freed any slaves. It's that they made everyone a slave. I know you know that. I know you know that.
The definition of citizen in Black's law, a corporate entity, and that's the way they mean it. You're not a free person.
Right. Well, a person is also a citizen according to the Constitution. That's defined in the Constitution. A person is a citizen and subject to the jurisdiction thereof. That's why I'm a man and one of the people, and certainly never a person or a citizen.
This interview was so ugly. So ugly. Jan took it down. I can understand that Jan lost his temper with Chris, because Chris is very difficult, to say the least. And that's why Jan took it down, not because he was exposed as an agent. Chris hasn't exposed any of these people. It's like he's just jealous and wants to steal everybody's followers.
Jan took that video down. I didn't.
That's true. Jan won't even do a debate with me. So
Jan put this video up and he disabled the comments. Then he took the video down, and he has not even mentioned it anywhere at any other time. He's trying to cover it up.
Yeah, he was obviously lost his temper.
Obvious government agents all the time, and then admits it.
Your federally funded lifestyle.
Federally funded lifestyle. You just spew fucking bullshit you make up, dude. You're fucking incompetent.
Man, you're a crazy dude.
Jan lives in like a small little cabin in the woods, like 2 hours up north of me, somewhere in the mountains. He is
because you're a federal agent.
Not a federal agent.
You live in Serbia.
I mean, who did the American Spring and the American Autumn and the Arab Spring? Do you know? I said the two organizations, Otpor and Canvas.
Otpor and Canvas.
Otpor and Canvas. Yeah, look it up. Otpor, Canvas.
Otpor?
O-T-P-O-R, I believe. O-T-P-O-R. And Canvas. C-A.
Serbia. Is this why you were so suspicious of
Serbia?
Of Jan Irving? You called him out about being married to a Serb.
Hey, when was he in Serbia? Was he in Serbia between the years of 1998 and 2004?
He said 17 years ago he was married to her in the debate you had with him. So that would be around that time frame, yeah. Jan won't do an interview with me, and he's actually kind of been a jerk to me too. Jan has been invited on the show. We've done lots of private messages back and forth, but he refuses to do an interview. I don't know if he's scared I'm going to call him on stuff. He thinks that just the normal everyday American is gonna just all of a sudden go from being a zombie to joining his militia. It's like, see, all those things you just said, you know, you and I know that they're true, but a whole bunch of people out there in America aren't aware of that. So the people...
I'm not interested in what stupid people think.
Well, you're gonna have enough people to actually ever be successful with the militia. You're gonna have to...
Always a small number of people who rule over the masses. Always. That's a rule. There's always been war, and it's always been a small group of people who rule over the masses. Always. And it will always be that way.
We don't need any people. All we need is control of the weapons of war and control of the issuance of currency. So we need zero people. That's the idea that we would need people is that people are smart enough to consciously act in their own best interest, and that's also taking into account that all these slaves, anybody who has any bit of sense and knowledge knows that everybody's a debt slave, but 99% of the slaves don't even realize that they're slaves. So we don't need any people. We need control of the issuance of currency. We need... Hey, absolutely. We don't need that. Give me $100,000 and we could bring down the federal government right now. I'm not going to get it, and I wouldn't know exactly where to put it at the time, but $100,000 worth of work. 50 people who are conscientious and good actors and smart and competent in 50 different cities. Or 50 people in one city. This is about upholding the law.
Yeah, they're just upholding the law. And it's never about the actual facts. It's all just conjecture and baseless, unfounded accusations from this guy. He just puts out lies.
Zero. Do you have evidence for fucking anything?
No, he doesn't. He does not have evidence for anything. And if it is, it's flimsy conjecture.
No. My arguments are not my own. What I'm advocating is what is in the law, what smarter individuals than myself put forward. And so what I'm saying and what you think or what I believe you are saying is that I'm basically attacking that which I'm attacking right now. And yeah, I don't deny that. I don't deny anything I said. And I've given the reason why, and there is evidence to back up my claims. Prima facie evidence.
What I do is something very simple. I take what much smarter individuals than myself have said and done and written down and put into law, and I magnify that for the people to see and simply call for the law to be upheld, and that's what I do.
He says that the guys in the woods wearing army gear shooting targets is bad, which, you know, some of them are probably infiltrated, and it's not the best optics either. And Chris's approach may be better in some ways, but he is not the right representative for some type of militia to ever be successful. He claims he's the commander of the Virginia militia, but I've talked to other militia guys who laugh at that. Do these other militias, do they call for the same things that you're calling for? The takeover?
Absolutely. Do they? You tell me.
I don't know. I'm new to all this militia stuff. You tell me. I'm asking a simple question.
You tell me. They do not.
They don't. So they just go train in the woods and jump over little wood.
They don't. You know, we don't advocate running through the woods and jumping over wood with a group of 5 to 10 individuals who could not even face up to a small town's SWAT team. They're not lawfully requiring individual government agents to turn over their weapons and placing them under arrest. It's not that they're infiltrated. That's not what I'm saying. Just like the 9/11 truth movement was started by the government before 9/11 even started, the militia movement is not being infiltrated. It is created by the government. So again, unless folks are calling for the abolition of government, you know that they are controlled by the government. When I met with Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bowman in 2008, he was the most legitimate individual that would have known about NORAD. And he told me, Chris, look, the only solution is the militia. And I said, wow, that seems a little strange, man, because the militia to me seems to be a bunch of crazy people running around in the woods. Mm-hmm. And I had to be educated on the issue. Educated. And Bowman wasn't walking around with a AR-15. Mm-hmm. He was going from place to place before he died.
I go, how many are in your militia? And he won't answer. I'm pretty sure it's 3 people. People that know him, known him for a while, say, yeah, it's just 3 guys.
We're talking about the militia because the militia is the only solution. The militia is the basis of the government. And it says in Article 1, Section 13, see if I can find it in the book. That's probably the quickest place I can find it. A well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the proper, natural, and safe defense of a free state, that standing armies in time of peace should be avoided as dangerous to liberty, and that in all cases the military should be under strict subordination to and governed by the civil power. So that says it all there. If the people don't control the weapons of war, they are slaves, and it is mandated in the law of the land. The only thing necessary to a free state is the militia, which is the entire body of the people trained to arms.
Chris just doesn't really do research on people. He probably doesn't know anything about me, just decides, I'm a secret Jew like he claims.
I'm very suspicious when these guys show up and they won't say what their real name is. They look Jewish and associate with other Jewish individuals, and then they start saying, like, what does it matter if anybody's Jewish or not? I'm not Jewish, but what does it matter? Then prove it. Prove it. I proved it.
I don't have any Jewish blood in me.
Prove it.
I don't know how to prove it.
I
don't have any Jewish blood. I've never said that or anything. Everybody's like...
It's very easy not to prove it. And I'll tell you one thing right here.
People do not walk around with M23andMe sheets saying, here's my ethnic background.
You asked me to prove it, and I grabbed something, and I proved it.
I didn't know
my
you were
genealogical
enough
record.
to have, like, had your...
When somebody has a Jewish name like Adam Green, and they act like a Jew, and look Jewish themselves, and cross-dress, and only when they're asked, are you Jewish, they just say, no, I'm not Jewish. And that's it? You got to prove that, basically. When you get to this sort of level, you got to prove yourself, or else you haven't earned it.
All I know is all the trolls.
Are you on coke, dude? Are you still on coke?
And then he starts just, ad hominems, personal attacks.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, let's see here.
Hey, how many U.S. senators,
Senior bullshit. All I know,
friends, anybody who
coming from you,
of course,
hey, genius.
time. The government's criminal. Nation of the United States based on the.
This is how he thanks me after I post this third debate. This is the thumbnail picture he puts up. But look at this thumbnail he uses. How he's got my face. Like, he must have searched and searched for that screenshot. That's the type of guy he is.
Every single individual on your that you have interviewed up to the point where you interviewed me, which you're up on the screen right now is an image that we use or has been used for lots of videos and is our background image for the Blog Talk Radio, which is interesting because that's the only interview you've ever done that doesn't feature either the interviewee that you interview or you and the interviewee in an image. I thought that was interesting, but it does separate the one non-government asset from all the others on your page. You said you were going to use a thumbnail from an image from a still image from the interview.
And I looked through for a thumbnail and I didn't find one any easy. I Googled militia. I saw this picture and I threw it up. I mean, it's not all a big conspiracy against you.
Oh, no, I mean, it just seems very odd that that's the only one that did it. So no thumbnails came up. I've honestly uploaded probably close to 3,000 videos on YouTube, and I've never once not had a thumbnail come up for a still image in any of the videos.
No, I didn't say they came up. I said the ones that come up didn't look good. Our faces were like, okay, something crooked. Oh, let's get to Chris saying one of his crazy assertions that once he takes over the government, we're going to kill all the millionaires and billionaires. And it's he kind of throws it out there and doesn't always give the disclaimer that after trials, after fair trials, and why. But he's got some crazy explanations as to why all the millionaires and billionaires have to be killed for treason.
Now I'll leave you with 2 questions to consider for the future. Question 1. In modern developed society, can the people who live there truly call themselves good human beings with all the suffering that goes on in the developing world when it is very easy for us to end it with such an abundance of resources? Question 2. Are humans truly free in modern society if we have to toil away 8 hours a day every day while others live jet-setting lifestyles hardly doing any work? Isn't modern society just another form of plantation, with the masses as slaves and the few who control the money as the slave masters?
There are quadrillions of dollars in circulation right now. Quadrillions of dollars. That is more money than there ever was, there is now, or there ever will be. And what? People can't afford to buy food? Because they can't. They can't afford to pay their bills? They can't.
We've already established that all the economy and finances of this country and every other country are controlled by the Bank for International Settlements, the IMF, the SWIFT system, the World Bank, the United Nations, etc. That's right. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Do you disagree with that?
Oh, absolutely not. You're totally right.
That is the vehicle by which war is waged on the people. In order to have a war carried out, there needs to be a financing source for the war. Correct?
Right.
This financial system benefits only those who are engaged in war against the people. Article 3, Section 3 of Constitution for the United States makes clear what the punishment for treason is. Do you know what the punishment for treason is in the United States?
I suppose it's death, either firing squad, guillotine, or hanging.
Okay.
Right.
So, very, very simply, all millionaires and billionaires are benefiting from this system, and they are paying into the system. They're financing this war against the people. And they have the right to make money or give it up. All millionaires and billionaires have to have their assets seized because everyone who's benefiting from this system is engaging in war against the people. Everyone who is benefiting from this system is engaging in war against the people. Constitution for the United States, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation in detail talk about the militia, which is nothing more than the body of the people trained to arms, must have control of all the weapons of war, and if they don't, the only thing that we are left with is a tyranny. And the same goes with the money supply. Without control of the money supply, that's it. We're talking about logic and rationality. And another thing about millionaires and billionaires is that we're telling them this, and the moment they say, okay, well, our assets are seized lawfully, they're ill-gotten gains. Anyone who's a millionaire and billionaire is involved in theft. Do you disagree?
Yes, people can have legitimate businesses and become millionaires.
How, if everything is a fraud? How, if everything about the economy is a fraud, how can you legitimately be a millionaire or a billionaire? This is about what the founders of this country wrote and how they lived their lives before they founded this country, how society was. And this is not just hearkening back to a different time. This is about rationality and logic. These are scientific facts. Mm-hmm. These are scientific facts. Force is how human beings are governed, and it has been since the beginning of time. And
right.
it's how we're being enslaved right now. Mm-hmm. We have authority to use force, and our enemy doesn't have the authority to use force. That's simple.
You're controlled by the money supply. You have no say over your money supply.
Could you imagine Chris Dorsey in charge? It would be a dystopian nightmare, like a horror film.
My top priority is to uphold the Constitution of the United States of America and serve the people. That is my top priority.
Okay.
I plan on hitting all of the spots of corruption. My plan is on ending corruption. When I'm in charge of the jail, there's going to be a different kind of person locked up in the jail. It's not going to be the homeless population. It's not going to be people who need help with a drug addiction. It's going to be violent criminals and people who steal hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars away from the taxpayer. The law will be upheld. If you stop paying your mortgage, who comes to put you out on the street? The sheriff! The sheriff puts you out on the street. So is the sheriff working for the people? When I announced that I was going to run for Richmond sheriff, this is back in 2010, the first thing that I announced was we are no longer going to enforce fraudulent evictions for delinquent rent or delinquent mortgages. If you're giving out charity to somebody on the street, it's worthless. It keeps them alive for another day of torture and suffering. We are talking about real charity, Christian forbearance. That means no usury. That means the entire financial system is criminal and must be shut down. It's based on only fraud and usury.
The GRTC has cut services and at the same time raised rates. So that's just kind of nonsense, like most of the rest of the stuff. And I just want to say that I don't really take a commission on poverty seriously when it is comprised of people from the institutions that cause the poverty, like Dominion Power, the University of Richmond, or the Federal Reserve Bank, or any of the other institutions that pull the strings on you and the rest of the people in city government.
Thank you, Mr. Dorsey.
Thank you very much. The recommendation, I guess, would be to, instead of carrying out the management program for keeping people in poverty and keeping people locked up, not to do that.
Thank you so much.
So do the exact opposite of what you're doing, and the poverty will decrease.
The militia, which is a body of the people trained to arms, must have control of all the weapons of war, and if they don't, the only thing that we are left with is a tyranny.
Chris doubts that there was planes at not just the Pentagon, but the World Trade Center. They go on and on. I think I might have taken that clip, but they go on and he goes, I don't know. Like, he can't say that he knows a plane hit the World Trade Center, the Twin Towers.
Question. Do you think an airplane hit the World Trade Center? You don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe. What do you think happened at the World Trade Center?
Well, there was definitely a controlled demolition. That's all I need to know.
So you don't know whether or not an airplane...
I know that there was a controlled demolition at the World Trade Center.
Okay. These are controlled
of 3
demolition.
buildings that fell into their own footprints.
You believe in controlled demolition, but you're not sure whether or not a plane hit the building.
Look, I'm sure of a controlled demolition.
This is your corner.
That's what I'm sure of.
So you're not
you
sure.
You
You're
say
not sure.
that more than 3 buildings fell into their own footprint. That is factually incorrect.
No, it
I'm
isn't.
not going to say anything factually incorrect.
The clearest image of United Flight 175 going into the South Tower was allegedly shot by amateur Michael Hezarkhani and obtained by CNN. The Hezarkhani footage has come to be known as Ghost Plane, and for good reason. The plane appears to pass through steel columns and the steel and concrete floors like a ghost. It doesn't twist, bend, slow down, break, or explode. We never see any damage occur to the airplane. The plane appears to pass through steel columns and the steel and concrete floors like a ghost. It doesn't twist, bend, slow down, break, or explode. We never see any damage occur to the airplane.
Take a look at this rare, super slow motion video of Flight 175 that hit the South World Trade Center tower on 9/11/2001. Take a really close look because there are 2 impossibilities. The first impossibility is a real airplane couldn't have sliced through a building with a steel facade with reinforced concrete flooring and 47 steel support beams. A jet's wing can't slice through a steel building like a hot knife through butter. But that's the story the news media wants us to believe, and most people are still believing this hoax. But the second impossibility is in plain sight. In fact, I can't believe it took me over 12 years to see. Let me show you a still of this video. I've highlighted a building that's clearly behind the South World Trade Center tower. Yet when we pay close attention to the video, Flight 175's wing should appear in front of the building, not behind it. This is a layering CGI glitch, and this proves that this video, which was seen all over the world, over and over and over again, year after year, is a CGI rendering. Thus, it's not an amateur witness video. It's a fake. and this is one of many, many faked videos put out by the news media.
Now, from this angle in slow-mo, you will see the left wing disappear. Half of it, at least, will disappear. We're used to that. We've seen that before. Just a reminder. Okay, so there it is. We've seen this one, where the top wing, half of it disappears. But watch this one. Amateur footage you've seen dozens of times as well. But watch the left wing. It's in slow-mo. The left wing doesn't disappear on this at this angle, but it does go behind the building. There it is. It went right behind it. A real airplane is not going to do that. There were no airplanes.
The World Trade Center towers came down in approximately 10 seconds.
It was a massive building, and it just pancaked.
10 seconds. These are 110-story buildings coming to Earth at free fall speed, the rate at which an object drops through air. The lower floors would need to give way completely as the floors above them fell. Can a person walk through a closed door as quickly and smoothly as one that is open? A 10-second collapse means the upper floors encountered no resistance from the undamaged floors beneath them. Watch the demolition wave rushing straight down.
Do you think a missile hit the Pentagon?
I know that that plane that they said hit the Pentagon did not hit the Pentagon.
Really?
Where's the evidence that it did?
The debris of the plane in the Pentagon.
Oh, the debris? Where's the fuselage?
Smashed after going through the wall. There's pieces of it.
Smashed? The fuselage gets smashed?
Yeah, it hit a building, remember? What do you think it's going to do? Just crumple up like a tin can and come out like a Tom and Jerry cartoon of a perfect fucking
no, I don't.
tube or
But
something?
what's funny about what you do?
What do you expect it to look like?
I make a statement and then you insinuate that I mean something else, which I haven't even said.
Okay, the fuselage
That's a
is
good
in
tactic.
pieces inside the building. There's pieces of it everywhere. It's smashed. What do you expect it to look like?
It's not going to be smashed. The fuselage would not be smashed.
Why? It just ran into a building.
Why?
What's it supposed to do? Shoot out the other side? How's it not going to be smashed?
How's it not? How
Yes.
would it be smashed?
Because it hit a fucking building. That's why it's smashed.
I know it hit. You say it hit a building. What
Yeah.
I'm saying is no plane hit the Pentagon.
Outside the Pentagon, CNN's military affairs correspondent Jamie McIntyre. And Jamie, you got very close to where that plane went down.
That's right, Judy. A while ago, I walked right up to next to the building. Firefighters were still trying to put out the blaze. The fire, by the way, is still burning in some parts of the Pentagon. And I took a look at the huge gaping hole that's in the side of the Pentagon. But from my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. The only site is the actual side of the building that's crashed in. And as I said, the only pieces left that you can see are small enough that you could pick up in your hand. There are no large tail sections, wing sections, a fuselage, nothing like that anywhere around.
Actually, it was Bob Franken with an eyewitness who said it appeared that Boeing 757, the American Airlines jet, landed short of the Pentagon. Can you give us any better idea of how much of the plane actually impacted the building?
You know, it might have appeared that way, but from my close-up inspection, there's no evidence of a plane having crashed anywhere near the Pentagon. The only site is the actual site of the building that's crashed in, and as I said, the only pieces left that you can see are small enough that you could pick up in your hand. There are no large tail sections, wing sections, a fuselage, nothing like that anywhere around, which would indicate that the entire plane crashed into the side of the Pentagon and then caused the side to collapse. Now, even though if you look at the pictures of the Pentagon, you see that the floors have all collapsed, that didn't happen immediately. It wasn't until almost about 45 minutes later that the structure was weakened.
So, Adam, catch this. Flight 77 is said to have hit the 77-foot Pentagon on the 77th meridian, exactly 77 minutes after takeoff, going 777 feet per second, I believe. So, yeah, I mean, they let you know it.
When I met with Lieutenant Colonel Robert Bowman in 2008, he's the founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth. He was the most legitimate individual that would have known about NORAD, would have known about the controlled demolition of the towers, and about how nothing on Earth besides a missile that was allowed to get through to hit the Pentagon, or an explosion from within the Pentagon, could have possibly gotten through the defenses of the United States, because he was a member of NORAD, and he knows these things. And when we established back in 2008, it was Israel, in a conversation between the two, that it was Israel that carried out 9/11. And it was unambiguous. What else is there? That's 2008. Somebody saying a plane hit the Pentagon, and even planes hit the World Trade Center themselves, I'm saying they're misinformation artists. When people are advocating voting for Donald Trump and also saying that they're anti-Zionist, nothing they ever say should ever be taken seriously. Number one, I'll tell you something. Number one, anybody who is not armed, their opinion means nothing. Their opinion means absolutely nothing.
Who is he to say if people's opinions mean anything? If I say something and it's my opinion and other people are hearing it, who is Chris Dorsey to say that my opinion means nothing and has no impact and no effect on those people's minds? Like, just because I'm not armed, people aren't going to listen? I mean, I get what he's saying is that if you say anything to like a corrupt government or somebody who's like, you know, has guns pointed at you and wants you to do something, then what you say means nothing. But he's just too vague. What Ryan says on YouTube, it means something whether he's holding a gun in his hand or not.
Remember last year when they had that event at the Robert E. Lee Monument? I was the only individual there that was armed, besides uniformed police and undercover, Secret Service agent or not undercover Secret Service agent. So then before this event, they were saying, oh, you can't bring guns to this event. You can't bring your guns there. So we contacted the Bar Association. We contacted the news directors of the local TV news channels, and we contacted the police and told them, you can't tell us that we can't bring a gun out on a street in Richmond. That's the last thing you can tell anyone to do, is not to do. Anyone, at any time, for any reason, can walk openly with a gun on the streets in any city, in every city in Virginia. So they had the event, and I showed up. It's well documented on video. I'm sure David and Clifford know the events I'm talking about. You know the events I'm talking about, correct?
I do. Yep.
Okay. So it's documented. I talked to NBC Pentagon correspondent Hans Nichols. I interrogated Hans Nichols, and really he didn't have any answers to my questions. He's the Pentagon correspondent, and he's at this military staged event that seems to, on its face, for the average person, not have anything to do with the military. But it's entirely staged by the military. Confronted by a guy with a fancy camera that wasn't working for the network news or any other cable news outlet that was at the event. And he comes and starts interrogating me about why I'm carrying a gun. And then I get harassed by numerous individuals on camera for carrying a gun. My God-given right. My constitutionally enumerated God-given right. Who else is carrying a gun? No one. No one. Why? Because they knew that they were not going to be able to carry out this state government plan. This is part of a plan. Virginia has, one of the least obstructive statutes when it comes to open carrying, constitutional carrying of firearms. So they couldn't do it when I'm around, so they used their asset, Jason Kessler, to chip away at our rights to gather in public, which we've done many times. We surrounded the police with guns on camera. We did that back in 2000. I do it all the time. I do it with individuals all the time. All the time. I always outflank the police, and I usually am telling them, yeah, okay, I'm going to walk behind you, so I'm outflanking you with a gun. Just going to do that because I can. I'm behind you, and I'm with a gun, and of course you're safe because I decide you're safe. I decide you, the government agent, you're safe. It's my decision. I'm outflanking you with a gun. That is the only necessary thing to a free state, is that the people always, if you have to go through 12 levels of security, and each level somebody has to be disarmed, the only one left with a gun when you get to the 13th level must be a member of the militia. So say that there's only one individual armed in a control room that controls the nuclear code. That must be a member of the militia. And he must be the one with the code. And that every other individual, if they are found guilty of wrongdoing by that militia member, they will be shot on the spot. They will be executed right there under the law. Otherwise, you have the exact opposite, which is the people can't even get within miles of these facilities, these underground facilities. Only government officials who have an escape route in case they set off nuclear weapons. Only those individuals have the ability to shoot on sight. So basically, you're a slave.
our most valuable weapons, as I like to say, is our knowledge of the law and Constitution. The guns are just a prop as a way of showing that we fully acknowledge the Second Amendment. And again, our biggest weapons are knowledge of the law.
Let's play this so we can understand where Chris is coming from a little bit and sympathize with him and give him some more context. He was sexually assaulted and abused by the police. This is a video that one of his buddies, or his former buddies, who he thinks is an agent too, sent me.
Hey, this is Glenn Sutphin here with Get the News Straight, APRI Live. Okay, hey everybody, I want to tell you about what the stop and knock that I had yesterday, and it involved me and Kyler here, because the police were wondering if we were pedophiles, because we talk about stuff that's in the news, pedophilia, and I told the police there's a big difference between pedophilia and child rape, which we covered on the radio. I believe it was that night after we were discussing it. And we keep discussing this because it needs to be discussed, and people need to hear the truth. And pedophilia is a clinical term, and child rape is a crime, and there is a distinct difference between the two. And there's a distinct difference between lusting after something and acting upon that lust and committing a crime and doing other things, like I told the police. Have you had any problems with anybody lately?
Yes, I'd rather not discuss exactly what yet, but yes. And I know that they're watching our profile. I know that they've picked us out of the crowd, as they have many. Thousands, hundreds of thousands. I know that we are on a watch list. I know that for a fact.
Obviously.
And I know that they are scrutinizing everything that we do, including most of our shows are being monitored. And in my case, I posted multiple university studies that dealt with men lusting after kids 12 years old and up being normal.
Mm-hmm.
Several university studies, and I've had personal testimony from men and women, both on air and off, that say it's normal for men to lust after kids 12 years old and up. Now, a lot of people just throw up their arms and go crazy when they hear that. They go completely berserk when they hear that. But that is a reality. I had a lady tell me yesterday, and a man, that 100 years ago it wasn't nothing for a 70-year-old man to marry a 12-year-old girl.
Yeah. I mean, back in colonial days, it was, if you were 13 and you weren't married, you were an old maid. So, the times have changed, and like I told them, it all depends on where you're at in the world, because overseas they can pose at 8, 9, 10, 16 years old, but if they come over here and with the same pictures, as child porn. And now, right. It dictates by society what the norm is. And like you said, I mean, we were going over several studies that say it's normal, and if pedophilia is normal, then it shouldn't be a crime.
I know I'm real. I know I'm real. I know I'm real.